everyone, this is Anthony. Just thought I'd have a little bit more of a discussion video. Because I think my very first ASMR video was talking about why I've been away from YouTube and been kind of isolated, and I was kind of talking about depression. But so anyway, let's talk about stress. I wrote down a whole whack of point forms. So let's talk stress. Let's start. I wrote down some of my point forms about what stresses me out, and you can let me know in the comment section below what stresses you out. So I'm just gonna go random here, just riff off or whatever. So one thing being school could really stress you out. If you're somebody that's elementary school, middle school, high school, anything, it could really, put you off in a stressful position, being in school and being teased and bullied and a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, nobody's perfect. But with me, I didn't really have the greatest time in school. I really hated it. I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. When I graduated, I was just like bursting in energy. As far as the teachers go in school, not the greatest system anymore. I don't think it's ever been. It's probably changed when I was just like a little kid, and it's just like, blah. So, and that kind of goes with college too. I wrote down college. People always ask me, Anthony, are you going to go to college? And I'm like, no. Like, do I look like I'm college material? Nope. Let's see. Parents can, it's a lot of stress for me. Though I see my dad more than my mom. I haven't spoke with my mom in, God knows, almost a year, a little bit over a year. I'm still not really that close with any of my parents, neither my mom or my dad, because we split up when I was 4, and it's always been kind of a tough situation all my life. So, and I've had to man up and mature and stuff very young. I've realized that I was kind of like smart. I've realized that I've been had that kind of intelligent knowledge of who I can really trust and who I can really be with and not really trust in my life at a young age. And when somebody really edges me on, I'm just like, okay, now this is not gonna work out. Now you're gonna know what it's really like to know what it's like on my bad side. So yeah, parents, I think for a lot of people, you don't really want to talk with some things with parents like that. Like, I even think my dad especially, and his girlfriend were getting a little suspicious about my orientation. So I think they already know. I've thrown out hints there. But so what? So Yeah, parents can be, yeah, pretty stressful, pretty hectic. And some parents can be really nice. You know, I mean, there's some parents there that I wished, like, that they were my parents. There's some parents out there that's just like, wow, that seems like to be the ideal. And I struggle with a lot of envy with that too, with a lot of things. So yeah, I've actually been having a little bit of dreams about that, about who I want to be called. And you know, I'm just Anthony. You know, and I've just been having a lot of like dream nightmare, kind of like raging with my dad, especially. Could even be my mom. I think it's more my dad in my dreams. And if because you always want to please and your parents and always want their acceptance, and when you don't get it, you're just like, what do? You know, so, and it kind of leaves you hanging there. You know, so, being in a stressful household, I definitely am in a stressful household, but hopefully that can change. I'm not sure if you guys are, but being in a stressful household could go with anything: verbal abuse, physical abuse. I haven't really been physically abused or anything, but I've had a lot of psychological things happen throughout all my life. You know, verbal warfare, if it's not that, or if it's like psychological things people play up against you. Yeah. I mean, all throughout my life. I mean, I've written that into a song called "Fall from Grace," and it pretty much talks about that briefly. About how all through my walks of life I found out that nobody could really save you and nobody could do any of this. Which in my head is sort of like, you know, you could go and talk to all these people, but, you know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So I'm still trying to find a more relaxing and common household. I believe this next place I'll be at would be just me, hopefully. Because, yeah, just where I'm at, I'm probably just not going to take it much any longer. I mean, it grows on you too, and especially when you live with a whole bunch of people. And, yeah. So, being one for a stressful household could really turn on you. Not finding work or not being able to find work, that's pretty self-sufficient for these days. Yeah. As you all may know, I don't work at a stable job or retail or anything. My spare time, I'm an artist, musician, play guitar a lot. I play bass, but not so much now. I gotta get some more bass strings and pay somebody to put them on there and show me, because it's been a while. But I don't really work, and it is stressful for me, because I've done interviews, and you name it, and people say, oh, you're you're not trying enough. Well, maybe you're not, seeing between the lines and looking straight and this and that. So, because if they wore my shoes, or if they kind of understood where I was coming from, they'd understand how hard it is finding work in the kind of town where I come from. And, and it's pretty stressful. But that gets to a point where it's just like, nah, because now I don't really want to work because of it. I'm happy with just the guitar in my hand, even though I'm really wanting to have a band again. And I can't really have that because a lot of people don't really play bands anymore. They're all just doing hip-hop or One Direction shit. And, yeah. It's fading away, but it's still there. It's just, it's always going to be there. Rock and metal. I've always wanted to be kind of like a metal scene singer, singing in a heavy metal band or something. And my first band, I had to let that go. It was hard. But I've let it go for now, for good. And, I'm getting things done more quicker now that my band's gone. I've been doing some collaborations with my friend Cameron. So I've been doing a whole whack of songs on SoundCloud by myself, producing them and playing the guitars, and then layering a vocal track on GarageBand and putting it on SoundCloud. So I've been doing way more songs than I did in my original band, Rent Fixation. So that's the stress with that too, and not being able to find work. So not being able to find work so you could get like a guitar or anything that's your desire to get, because with money's a big issue these days. If you don't have it, then you have to have it to do stuff, and it's a bother for me, because if you take a $20 wallet out of your thing or whatever and give it to me, I'm gonna say no, don't do that, because I don't really care about money. My head is not thinking about money. It's thinking about getting fans, getting known, finding a better environment for myself. Those are, being accepted. So those 3-4 things, that's what's kind of on my mind. So I'm not really, because there's a lot of artists that just care about money and merchandise. I don't care about that. And, so that's kind of time I spend on, besides work, music, drawing, singing, not doing a heck of a lot. I used to, actually, this anvil I made in high school, I used to do metal work. This was made out of aluminum and steel. I did some soldering on here, and yeah, so I'd like to get into that kind of stuff again. And it was pretty intense just going through the process. I made this, it's a 4-inch bullet, and it's also made out of, it's aluminum, and this is brass. The tip can actually come off. Yeah, so, that was in grade 12, I believe. What was the next thing here? Being isolated. You know, that could kind of result to not being able to find work, or the people, well, my situation is sort of like where I am, or reside, that makes me feel kind of isolated. So, I mean, there's just a billion different things that result from that, the feeling of being isolated. I mean, you could feel isolated in school, classroom, hospital, you know. You know, isolating yourself so you wouldn't have to go and talk with somebody and go through the same cycle and repeat. And if you're somebody that goes through that and you're kind of on, you know, the edge there, stuck off the edge, and you're falling down, I mean, don't give up, because, you know, you have your days. I mean, everybody gets suicidal thoughts and stuff. I mean, I had to go to emergency last November, so I've been pretty stable since then for the last eight and a half months. Never had to take a pill or anything. And it's sort of like how, because I'm a really big fan of 3 Days Grace, and how they write their stuff and what they talk about. Especially the old singer that left, Adam Gontier, I really look up to. They say how they write their songs, they don't think about lyrics, they think about conversations and the fact that they're not changing, but other people are changing around them. Other people are just like blowing up into a sickness, and then people like me and them are just not really changing. I mean, I'm not going to change, so you're going to have to live with it for the next, you know, until I'm gone, kind of a thing. So, yeah, so being isolated, yeah. I mean, I've listened to a lot of music, videos, and spent a lot of time on my own. All throughout my, school years, and summers, winters. It was always hard. I've never really liked systems. And, yeah. So that's it with, isolation. Being backstabbed. You know, I've had a friend for over 10 years. And his name's, actually, I don't know if I should really say his name, but I've had a friend since grade 2, and just early this year, he kind of backstabbed me a little bit, and you know, said some things that weren't really weren't too nice, and it was kind of just a letdown to seeing my friend from grade 2, that I've known for over a decade, just, you know, get really torn up with things. And he's an alcoholic now, and he's, you know, selling weed to kids and stuff. It's just awful. And yeah, I had a little bit of a bike accident, and then the next day he never invited me to a party. And I struggle with that, because he's been kind of rude and stuff. And when he's with my other friend, my other friend Cameron's house. He really just stares at the TV, and if you call his name and do something, you're like, come on, Mason, come on, let's go, you know? And then he's just there, eyed up on the TV, and that's just not all of it, you know? He thinks he's so damn right. My friend Mason with a whole bunch of... He's not even my friend anymore. He's, you know, apparently walking out every night and day, and he does nothing. So, yeah, I've been back, not just with my friend from grade 2, Mason, there, or anything. I've been just a whole bunch of people. And I remember my friend Lenny asked me, what is with these people? Is this sort of the area that you, you know, get treated this way? Is this what you experience in your life? I mean, this is sad, he said to me. So, yeah, I've had my share of being backstabbed, bullied, and, you know, some people have turned their back on me for just no legitimate reason or anything, so it's, man, I have lots of points here, a lot of bullets here. Here's a good one. Religion. Yeah, religion's really, that's probably one of the biggest stress on there that I wrote down for Let's Talk. I was actually, you probably guys don't even know, so this is a first for this vid or for this channel, because I haven't opened my mouth about a lot of heady things for YouTube. So, yeah, I was actually brought up Catholic. Actually, I'm not sure about my mom, but especially my grandmother's quite big in Catholic, and saying, she said the other day something about how somebody else, they died off and they went to the other place or something. So, you know what, I can't really buy that. I just can't. Yeah, I was brought up Catholic, and I kind of left that whole scene a couple years ago. I just had enough of it. When I came out bisexual, I was losing a lot of faith with a lot of things, and not just coming out, but I just felt weird atmosphere and just had a weird vibe to it all. That it seemed like if you didn't believe in something that they believed in exactly, then you're just not a part of it. I remember that I liked a girl in youth group at the time. Her name was Caitlin, and there was a youth group leader saying to me that, you know, this is not a place to date or whatever, when actually a friend of mine named Nicholas Conway, he got married with somebody in youth group or whatever, but I kind of left that before I did church there too, so, and just hearing about all these things, I mean, there's Mormons, there's Muslims, there's Jehovah's Witnesses, there's Catholics, there's Christians, there's Hindus, there's a whole bunch of, there's Satanists, there's agnostics, there's atheists, there's people in between. Even science is turning into a religion now. It's like, oh, you can't believe in that, that's, you know, science. So, and people always question me now. I mean, people throwing words at me like, you fucking emo, they say to me, or something like that. Oh, you're going emo now? You're going emo now? Why are you painting your nails black? Or, you know, a whole bunch of shit that people shouldn't be saying. I mean, there's a whole bunch of, like, homophobic, not just homophobic, but, people that are just, you know, there's a lot of assholes in the world that just don't get a hint that if you want to be you, why can't you just be you without somebody just throwing stuff at you? Whether it's, because, yeah, so, religion's played a big part in my life. Just because other people tried to get me involved as a young kid. I was, first, I guess, I wouldn't say really influenced anymore. There was this band called Petra. Some of you may have heard of them. And actually, I really thought that they were a cool band. They were the first band that I got attached to, and then I let them go. 13 years later, when I was listening to them ever since I was 7 years old, I said, you know, I was thinking I wanted to meet them one day, and I got in contact with them, and they thought somebody like me was wrong. So, I mean, I'll still listen to them, but they're just, you know, not my cup of tea anymore. And I've always liked 3 Days Grace, but like towards when I got out of high school, I was listening to a whole bunch of heavy metal bands, and when I graduated, I just kind of let that go. And I was listening to a whole bunch of stuff like Simple Plan, a whole bunch of stuff. So, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about religion. Siblings. Yeah, siblings can be stressful. I have two half sisters, which I don't really see. One of my sister, she has 2 kids of her own. She has my nephew's going to be 9, and she has a little girl that's going to be, I can't remember, like 1 or 2, so very young. And my other sister, Stephanie, we don't really talk at all. Actually, both of them, we don't really talk at all anymore. And, yeah, so siblings can be a really pain in the neck. Me and my sister that has kids, Amanda, me and her are like 8 years apart, so you could really see the diversity in the family, you know, just like about how me and my siblings are just, you know, half this, half. So, yeah. When I was younger, actually, I still wish I had an older brother, and I don't. So, having 2 half sisters can be a little bit crazy at times. Always feeling alone, always having the feeling of being alone, and that's kind of similar to isolation. Isolation is, you know, not saying anything and keeping yourself away, you know, just isolate yourself away from things. But having the feeling of being alone, I kind of think about that as feeling alone about not having another spouse, or feeling alone friendship. I really struggle with that. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's been other bands when I was in high school that didn't accept me or wanted me to be a part of it, or wouldn't, you know, open up for me or anything. So that kind of made me feel a little bit alone and, you know, shut down. And still to this day, I'm still thinking like, oh, am I just gonna sit here? I mean, I don't just plan to sit here and whatever. I mean, some people just have that kind of issue where, you know, they just can't get out of bed because, you know, because of their symptoms, or you know, because of their ways of life. But feeling alone, yeah, that could always be a struggle. And not sure if it is for you, but it definitely is for me. Not sure if I'm going to get everything in this video, because I wrote a whole bunch of things down in point form. Okay, I'm just going to say something, okay, random. Let's say, okay, childhood. Now, I hear about a lot of people always say, "Oh, my childhood was never really good." But a lot of people always say that. You're not going to get a perfect childhood. I mean, I certainly didn't, but you... Now, so I grew up in the early 2000s and very late 90s. So, I mean, I can say I can remember a little bit of things, not very much, maybe just sort of like places or just images that I kind of remember of me or my sister or my dad or my mom or my dog Loopy at the time. So childhood was very, like I said in the beginning, not very easy. I mean, I had to go to so many meetings as a kid. I mean, don't do this, you know, I'm a kid at the time, you know, and I still feel that way too. It's like that song, "I'm Just a Kid" by Simple Plan. You know, I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare. And which it is. And you don't want to be told to grow up. And I won't. You know, you could age, but you're not going to grow up. So that's where I look at it. So, you know, and by the time my birthday comes, I'm going to be 20 before I know it. But I'm still going to be the young, you know, the young me that I've always, you know, cherished. So, authority. So, that plays a big one. That's probably like just as big as religion. Authority can be stressful, whether you're a little kid, preteen, teenager, or an adult. Authority, like police officers, can be like really annoying. I'm actually finding out more that officials are starting to be a little bit more corrupt than usual. It's sort of like, whoa. Yeah, I'm not really a person that really likes authority. I mean, sometimes I go to authority if there's an issue, but I swear to God, it's like where you go to now, if, like, especially in the States, you hear about all these crazy stories. Or anywhere, really. So, you know, in high school, I never really liked authorities with teachers, any authority. I've tried to make up my own rules and authority or whatever, so, I mean, looking at me, you could probably tell. And if you can't tell, then by all means, just ask me about it. But yeah, I'm not a big one when it comes to authority. And you know, some people that are authority figures that seem like they're the safe ones to go to they're not always the ones that you can rely on. I mean, like I said, okay, I'm just going to go on the next one here, because, government. And why I jump to the next one, the government, because you can't really rely on, say, officials and stuff like that, because even the government is not trustworthy worldwide. There's actually people that are working behind the scenes, just a handful of people that are not really, it's all just one big show at the end. you know. It's crazy, you know. And, like, even after high school, I would read into conspiracy and all that shit. And I kind of stopped doing that now because it scares the hell out of you, because you just believe it. But I do know, and most of the world believes, that the government's kind of controlled and not really there. So, with me, I'm not really a government person. I don't vote, ever. And what's the point of voting? You're going to vote for the same thing over and over every again. Just for a figurehead. I mean, you know, some people are better than others, but they're just people, you know, playing the role. So you could point the finger at them like, oh, why did Obama and Stephen Harper do that? But the point is just because they were told to, you know, to make a speech and this and that by somebody else, bigger than them. And actually, I ran for school prime minister back in grade 11. I thought it'd be fun, and I lost. But you know, I just found that it was more of like a popularity contest, really. I mean, there was somebody that the former church that I went to when I was curious and stuff used to call me Mr. Prime Minister and stuff, because he knew I was running for school prime minister. And I did my speech, and that was, you know, an eye-opener, because there was so many people there. I had so many uhs and ums, but I made it. I made it through. And then there were some people that were going to vote or whatever, but it was, God, it's been a while. Yep, it's been like 3 or 4, probably like 4 years. My God. But I'll never do that again, because it's like, what's the point? Because when you get elected in a school thing like that, you know, you're not going to have any control. The principal's going to have control. So there's kind of like a example with that. Never fitting in. Never fitting in. You know, some people can tell you over time that you will fit in. Some point in your life you'll figure out who you are, or it's right. You'll fit in with some people, or you know, I mean, if you're in a crowd of people like me, I'm not really one for crowds, but I should be, because I'm a musician, but not all musicians are. But I don't feel like I fit in with most things. With you guys, however, let me know. You know, I even think that nobody could really fit in a lot of things. Sometimes you can. Depends what fitting in is. It's like fitting into a music style, fitting into people you met down the road. I mean, this just goes on and on and on and on and on. Being lied to. Here's another one. I can actually tell when people are lying a little bit more now than I ever have. But I've had my share, you know, stood up 3 times in a row while trying to meet somebody on dating sites. I mean, so it's hard to really know. Being lied to, straight in your face. I've had a whole bunch of stuff happen. And it's not a really great feeling if somebody doesn't like you and they say something, but then the next time they say, oh, I lied or whatever, and they said, no, I don't really like you. And then that could just tear your whole life apart, you know. So, I mean, we've all had our shares and stuff, but I wouldn't say being lied to is the biggest, but it's if you get lied to on and on and on again, then you're not going to really trust anybody. When you get lied or stood up 3 times in a row, and yeah, it's not that great getting stood up. It's not a great feeling, but it's not, for me, it's not the biggest. I think the biggest ones I've already mentioned. Druggies and drunks. That's a big one for me. I went to a Black Sabbath concert a couple years ago, and out of nowhere, this guy came in late through a Black Sabbath concert, and he was drunk, like drunker than ever, and I thought something was gonna happen because my dad was there and just whatever. My dad doesn't drink anymore. He used to. But he was gonna die, and he had to stop, so he only drinks 0.5s now, which is fake beer. And with me, I don't like going into bars or pubs, because drunks are nasty to deal with. They just like, they're the ones that kind of play with your brain a little bit. I mean, if you let them, they will, because they say anything and they keep you rolling, and they say things they don't really mean. And if you believe it, you believe it. And the same goes with people that are druggies. Like, I haven't met anybody that did anything besides marijuana. You know, I don't do anything. I don't drink. Yeah, I can't be friends with anybody that does cocaine or heroin or LSD, anything. It's always, you always hear about crazy things happen. Actually, probably about like a couple weeks ago or a month ago, a house blew up over a little bit, you know, probably about, you know, the other side of where I live. Apparently it was like a meth lab or something like that. So, you know, so it's, yeah, kind of crazy. I didn't think I lived in an area like that. Well, if it's that crazy, you know, the Comox Valley, then of course you'd find something like that, not that mysterious. I think I pretty much said what I need to say. Too much support. Sometimes you have support, which is good, but sometimes you can have too much support. Like, you could have like a devil on your shoulder kind of a thing, you know, saying, do that, and then the angel saying, you know, no, don't do that. You know, so I struggle with that forever, you know, just having people support and cradle me too much, you know, take me back in the baby crib kind of a thing. I mean, there's support that's in a good way, like, but sometimes it gets too out of hand. Like, if there's somebody that desperately wants to kill themselves, there's not a lot of ways that people act well, and especially hospitals, especially nurses, for instance, because I had a really nasty nurse that was, you know, eyeing me up and stuff, and just like in a nasty, evil kind of a sense, this nurse. And when your anxiety attack, or ready to just fucking, you know, having these thoughts or whatever, you're nearly ending it. People meet you there, they strap you down, or they say you're crazy. I mean, I'm just like, wow. It's like, aren't you just going through stuff? I mean, people do. I mean, I get these thoughts now, but I don't act on it. So, I mean, I think the support system can be much better. Like, much better, and it's not. Yeah, it's pretty insane. It's pretty crazy. And even when you can't find support or can't, and then that's just like all hope is lost. So you could have too much support can be bad on you, and then not enough is not a good thing either. So you gotta have that leveled out a little bit. So yeah, I think I really got what I needed to say and said everything. I would like to say that if you're in a desperate situation or, you know, stressful situation, or if you're really, you know, having suicidal thoughts, then you could always message me on Facebook or YouTube, comment below, get in contact with me. And if you're really getting like really down, then check in somewhere. I really mean it. So I should have said that in the beginning. But yeah, actually I said a lot. And this is probably the longest video I've made before. Oh, there's probably about one or two other things here. Yeah, so but I mean, like, just, like, honest to God, it'll get better in time. So stay in there. It's just like that song, Life Starts Now, or Never Too Late by Through His Grace. It's never too late. Life starts now. Take all this pain. Make it yours. Take all this hate. I can't remember, but look up the song. Just Life Starts Now by Through His Grace, or Never Too Late by them, and it's a really good one by Pepper. This last couple things here is, some people get very envious of celebrities. I know I do, because when I was a little kid, there was these Sprouse twins, Dylan and Cole Sprouse, and they're not acting anymore. But I remember watching the TV shows, The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, and I was just like, well, I want to be like them. They're famous and stuff, and so they kind of died out because they did, and yeah. I mean, some people get stressed out because they get mad of like power and want to have that same sort of like high-end life, whether it's money or, you know, nice family, you know. So celebrities, for me, can be, it comes around and it comes around. It doesn't play a big part it may be stressful sometimes because, you know, everyone wants to aim big and make it really big, bigger than anybody else and stuff. Like, so, but with me anyway, I wouldn't say really well, sometimes I do. There's this guy, the singer, Andy Biersack he's a singer for Black Veil Brides. And not only is he really cute, he's a really good singer. But I just envy how he's like 5 years older than me, and he's making platinum albums and stuff. It's just it's crazy how he's making these platinum and gold records and stuff with Black Veil, but they're really good. I just